pasó, buddy?
Bien mojado.
¿Cómo te fue?
Oh, morning. How are you?
¿Cómo te fue con el agua?
Sí, no,
Morning. We
Oh,
get
yeah.
something different here or what?
What's the preaching having problems?
Huh?
Flooding problems?
Nah, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
How you doing? Morning.
morning. How are you?
Good morning, sir. How's it going this morning? Likewise.
Oh,
I'm gonna wear a red shirt, but then I was wearing a blue one and I drank water and it fell all over me.
el juez,
Ahí está afuera. Good morning, sir. Fix up our budget. 200.
Morning, Jaime.
Good morning, Joe.
How you doing?
Good, Commissioner.
Morning, Judge.
Good morning, sir.
¿qué pasó, chief? ¿Cómo estás?
When I leave, I'm gonna go to Rorick
Yeah, they
and
bought new
Dana
chairs.
to work on that document that you
Okay.
signed yesterday.
And we can't fix the road.
Because yesterday was boring, I couldn't go home.
That's pretty good showers last night.
Yes. Is Charlotte gonna speak on number 4?
There's nobody who
Good morning. We want to welcome you this morning to this Drainage District Board of Directors meeting for today, September the 17th, 2013. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Mr. Garza, can you proceed?
Yes, sir. I don't believe anybody signed up. Okay. Moving on to item 3, the approval of the consent agenda, sir.
Everything in order?
No concerns.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Item 5,
We have item 4, sir.
excuse me, 4.
On item 4, authorization to submit letter to Texas Water Development Board as it relates to the funding for the Raymondville drain. We're coming before the board for its consideration, submitting a letter to the Water Development Board. This past session that took place, there was some funding that was associated with Hidalgo County as it related to projects in our area. And at this time, we're looking at trying to submit a letter to them for consideration on the Raymondville drain.
Is this, I understood that money was for reclamation projects, or are both of those projects reclamation, or what?
No, sir. Basically, Commissioner, one project is a straight flood control project, the Raymondville drain is, at this time, and the Delta is developing into both a reclamation and a water use project. We've been working with the Corps also on the Delta area to try to get all this documentation in order, and at this time, what we have before us is a concern or consideration of submitting on the Raymondville drain. The Delta project is a very useful project in which it's going to be possibly drainage and reclamation. But right now, the project that is drainage is the Raymondville drain, and the way we're looking at the Delta, the main use is reclamation.
Is
The
this the
building-
one Senator Hinojosa worked on?
Sir?
Is this the one Senator Hinojosa worked on?
We had both Senator Hinojosa and Senator Lucio work on that bill that came out of the committee, Commissioner. And we're trying to get the funding to come into the area, both for the Rainbow Drain and the Delta project. So right now, and I received a letter, I believe, from you, Commissioner, yesterday,
Right.
wanting to submit the Delta project also to the Water Development Board, and I'll present that or do whatever action the board wishes on that one coming up now.
Can we table this and look at it and see what,
Whatever
bring it
the,
back next week?
whatever the wishes of the board, if y'all need additional information or...
Commissioner, I know that the request was made to add the Delta watershed to the letter, thinking that it's the same pot of money, but I believe yesterday I got a phone call trying to get give me an explanation as to the fact that there are actually two sources of funds. One would apply to the Raymondville Drain, and the other one would apply to the Delta Watershed Reclamation Project. But that this one doesn't apply to the watershed project. Am I correct, or?
The language on the bill has it for both, Judge, but it starts off with drainage, reclamation, and reuse. And the pot of money that we have there right now is a $5 million and $5 million over every year to equal the $10 million. So again, if the board needs more information, I can get y'all a copy of the bill itself, but I'll take direction from y'all.
If we can qualify for funds for the Delta Watershed Project, then we ought to include it in the letter. And that's really the question.
Okay,
Does
can we
it
look at it
qualify?
and bring it back and?
Sure, like I said, whatever the wishes of the board is on this item.
Godfrey,
Yes, sir.
it's important to understand, now the legislation passed, and obviously there's a criteria set for available projects
That's
as to be
correct.
recognized by the Texas Water Development Board and all of this. When you're talking about both projects, are both recognized at this point in time? Do we have one more advanced than the other that's, what we don't want to do is jeopardize
Sure.
one because we're trying to put,
One or the
but we do want to take advantage if there's an opportunity to add the watershed project. We'd like to entertain it if it doesn't jeopardize the initial one.
I understand. Basically, and I'll try to explain it this way, Commissioner. The bill itself had certain criteria to pertain to Hidalgo County, that we worked on the levees, that we've done this, okay? One of the items on the criteria also is the Army Corps of Engineers. With the Rainbow Drain, since we've been working on it for 10 years, 11 years, it's gone through the process of being part of Water Resource Development Act. On the Delta side, since we just started having communication with the Corps, and we met with the Corps about a month ago, they're trying to see if the Delta project, because the Corps had done a project, what they call the South Floodway Channel, years back under WRDA 86 also. If the Delta project becomes a component of that, then I would say it's also part of WRDA. But right now, we have not received a response back from the Corps saying that it's part of WRDA.
How long will it take you to get that information?
We've met with them, we've sent letters to them, we're just waiting for them to respond. They have to go through their process of reviewing. They felt positive about the issue, but again, with the Corps, you never know until the letter is sent back to you.
Godfrey, so that could potentially take a lot of time. Obviously, you're talking about a process that still needs to be engaged, and we just don't know what, I mean, I'm certain that it's probably going to be favorable, but what we want to make sure is that we're not jeopardizing one project and then hinder it. Obviously, drainage remains one of the biggest priorities.
Yes, sir.
I want to make sure that we're not missing a boat either. So let me ask the question.
Yes, sir.
If we proceed with this and submit the letter, does it jeopardize the Delta Watershed Project?
I don't think it jeopardizes it at this time because, again, the Water Development Board itself has to acknowledge it and has to submit back. If we receive something another week, we submit the Delta project, then again, it's going to be competing up.
So if we approve today, does it jeopardize it, or can we come back with a second
Or would it
request?
be better to do it together next week, or?
Okay, move for approval on item 4.
I'm going to second, but will you answer the question?
I don't think it'll jeopardize it, Commissioner, and again, if the board wishes to submit this letter and follow up next week with a letter with the Delta project, we can proceed that rate, or if the board wants to combine the two, we can proceed next week that way.
Well, if we're going to be combining them, let's just do it today. If it's not going to hurt either one of the projects.
It's, the Delta project is not on the agenda though, Judge, it's the only concern I've got. Whatever the wishes of
It
the board is.
appears that both projects are needed.
Yeah, both are needed.
Oh, definitely.
Would it hurt to wait till next week, or what?
They're both needed, but this money was actually targeted for the Raymondville drain, right?
That's really the key. Is this
Is the
money
Raymondville
targeted
drain,
for
right?
the Raymondville
That's
drain?
Exactamente. that's
And
what I'm- that's all
the
I'm
issue of discussion is that we went forward with the application, or two applications, one for the Raymondville drain and one for the Delta.
This is for Raymondville drain.
Yes, sir.
That's what I wanted.
But does the,
Now, the letter itself is for Raymondville Drain,
Yes, sir.
but the money's available, does it include both?
The language in the bill does not say Raymondville drain. The language in the bill says drainage, reclamation, and reuse. That's the language on the bill.
So it covers,
Yes, sir.
I don't know, who brought this letter
Mine, it's
from
mine,
Senator
it's mine.
Hinojosa?
Oh, this one. Same thing?
I believe it was backup, Judge.
I haven't seen the letter, Commissioner.
Well, this one appears to state that the money is allotted for,
Rainbow Drain.
well, yes, and that there's a different pot of money for the reclamation project.
There might be additional monies in the Water Development Board for reclamation, and I believe that Senator Hinojosa, when he moved forward the bill on his side, he was looking at the Raymondville drain. If that's the question, that's what he was looking at. Senator Hinojosa's bill that was being put together was looking at the Delta area with also support of Senator Hinojosa. Yet in committee, the bill got merged together into one bill.
What if we were to send out this letter today, Commissioner, and next week?
I don't know if it, I mean, I just don't want it
Next
to
week
hurt
we'll put out
anything.
the
I
other
mean,
one.
And I want to make sure that we're in complete support of the watershed project.
Yes, sir.
The problem in this case is, we've been working on the Raymondville drain for quite some time now.
11 years.
It's a recognized project
Yes,
with
sir.
the Army Corps of Engineers. We have bonds that we just sold. There's money sitting there. We haven't advanced the project just yet. We need to get moving on it. Obviously, with the conditions we're having, there's another system out in the Yucatan, and it's going to be a constant issue.
You are correct.
They can get started.
Yeah.
The question is, if a letter goes out that the county is supporting both the Raymondville drain and
The watershed.
what would be the,
We're going to have, the Water Development Board is going to probably call back or going to ask y'all what, we have this pot of money. Is this money going straight into this pot or into that project? And again, at that point, the senators that sponsor the bills are the ones that are going to say, this is my intention of that bill.
Godfrey, I
Yes,
know
sir.
this is going to put you on the spot. You've been our drainage district manager for how long?
Probably 16 years.
16 years. You know the system.
Yes, sir.
Okay. In regards to priority, what would be your recommendation?
In regard to priority, because of the efforts that we put in, Commissioner, I've got to say the Raymondville drain, because we expended a lot of time and effort on that project.
Now, if we submit for both, that means we're going to probably potentially cost share what's available for two different projects.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And in this case, do we miss a boat? You claim that there's other pots of money for water reclamation. Are
Yes,
there
sir.
other available avenues for funding? Is there, and those are available this year, or?
At any time during the year, you can apply for grants from the Water Development Board. If the board wishes, we can start preparing grant applications for the Delta project to move it forward into a different level.
Right.
But you're asking me a specific question today. The only one that has Water Resource Development approval today is the Raymondville drain.
Well, and see, that's my point, is I don't want to get lost in in the objectiveness
Yes, sir.
of what the court is trying to do. We're trying to push something so that we can get something on the ground. And no different are we trying to hinder another project whatsoever, but I think we're going to rely a lot of guidance on you. What would you recommend the court to consider? You're more of a specialist in regards to drainage and...
Again, on the specifics of it, and based on what you're telling me the senator put in there, the Raymondville drain today meets water criteria. The Delta is going through the process of getting clearance from the Corps for that item.
Now, this phone call related to a conversation with Erica, with Renee at Ramirez's office, and they were involved in the, no, I had,
Oh, okay.
and they were involved in the legislation. And her impression, well, she stated there are two different pots of money. We're confusing. If we try to combine them both, it's going to be, well, one is for one project, the other one is for the other. I'm not sure. I was hoping she'd be here and explain it to us, but she's not.
And again, I can't speak to that effect.
what would be the consequences of delaying this to next week and invite
I'm not going to be here next week.
the two senators or their office to explain what's going on?
Again, it's whatever the board wishes.
Or we can just put it on the agenda for next week to just approve another letter for the support of the
Yeah,
the
that
watershed.
was my question, Godfrey. Do we miss a boat if we proceed with this and then come back next week for...
No, sir, I don't think you
support?
missed the boat, Commissioner.
So
And
it's not
again,
going to harm anything that
No,
if we
sir.
take action today and then next week come in with support of the...
No, sir,
water
it does not.
reclamation?
Again, it's just, we're gonna have to go up to Austin and explain why we have two projects. and maybe at that time Erica can explain where that other pot of money is that she's saying is available.
Because obviously, the court supports both. It was on our last bond issuance, and there was some money set aside for water reclamation. I mean, it's not that we support one versus the other.
Yes, sir.
But if we don't miss a boat, then we can obviously take action today, and next week come in with the support of the,
Yes, you can, sir.
Let's go ahead and do that.
Well, both projects are important, I mean, that's
Both
all.
projects have been funded through
No
bond
question about
issuance.
that, you know.
One we've spent 11 years working on.
okay.
All right.
You had a motion, second, Judge?
Yeah, well, I guess put the other one on the agenda next week,
Yeah,
I
for
guess.
next week, so
We'll
we
go
can,
from there, so.
I think the consensus is that the court's in support of the other letter also.
Very good, sir.
So
I'll
let's
put
get
the
it on
item-
for next week.
And I'll contact Eric, Renee's office for him to give me additional details on it.
All right, those in favor of the motion is made and seconded indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 5, requesting approval to utilize the district's option to renew agreement number 12-014-09-18B with Allied Aggregate Stone Riprap Material for one additional year under the same rates and terms and conditions. The riprap is the rocks and the rubble that we have under contracts.
We ever have some stockpile?
That's what we're going to try to do with this new budget year coming up.
All
And
right.
we're going to stage it in different areas.
Yeah. Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B, requesting approval to utilize the district's option to renew agreement number 12-012-08-18A with Avila Stone riprap material for an additional 1 year under the same terms and conditions. We have two vendors, Allied Aggregate and Avila. So depending which one's closer, because freight would kill us, is the one we utilize.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C, 2013 bond series. Item C, requesting approval of work authorization number 3 with LNG Engineering in the amount of $137,082.21 as it relates to survey services for the Mission Inlet Recertification Project in Precinct 3. This is again the project that I mentioned to this board yesterday where we're looking at the lands being reclaimed and reutilized. So we're moving forward with that
Second.
project.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Under item 6, I believe there's a presentation by Alamo Insurance.
Over here.
Right here.
And I'll read the item. Presentation by Alamo Insurance and Howard County Health Benefit Consultant for discussion, consideration, and approval of the requirements, scope of services, specification, other criteria, with any modification, additions, and/or deletions requested or required by Commissioners Court for the request for proposal RFP for third-party administration, individual stop loss and aggregate stop loss for self-funded medical plan, group term life, and accidental death and dismemberment. RFP number 2013-143-CGA, and I believe this is also under Marty. I don't know if Works Department here, but
It's also under,
under the county.
Good morning.
good morning, sir. Commissioners, do you want to take this subject up currently, or do you want to wait till the?
Well, we got two different boards, and we're going to act on this one. Members of the court probably want to hear it.
Okay. What we've done is, we've submitted through
Or do
purchasing.
you want to wait? We're going to have the same identical presentation.
We're gonna hear it now or later? That's the same thing.
What can we,
Same one.
Steve, where's Steve?
It'll be the same presentation.
Can we-
NSD.
What can we do to take action under the regular agenda?
Recommendation to hear it later, and whatever.
Normally, what you do, you go with
Yes, sir.
What
And
is
again,
Present on both,
the board can consider approval subject
it's
to
gotta be in
conditions
this
of the Commissioners
It has
Court,
to.
Yeah.
which would give Marty an opportunity to come up and
Unless
answer
you
questions,
want-
because
unless
we
you
don't
want
handle this,
recess.
it's
Right.
usually handled in the county.
And we-
So it'd be more informative, I believe, when
Yeah,
Marty-
we probably need Marty here to qualify, respond, or do anything.
Mr. Crane. can-
Judge, what we can do is we can recess this meeting and reconvene this meeting when we get into the dog
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anything?
Yes, sir, we
under
do have an item under executive session, they're pending a potential litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
So,
our drainage meeting. Mr. Garza, go ahead.
Judge, Commissioners, under pending and potential litigation, I'd like to turn this particular item over to Mr. Valdeguerra for Board's direction. Mr. Guerra?
Thank you, Mr. Garza. Judge, Commissioners, under open session, item, I believe there's no action under A, real estate.
Yes, sir. That's
Real
correct.
estate, and there is no action under item B, 8B, pending or potential. Item 8C, notice of claim, John and Sonia Perry individually and as legal heirs to the estate of John Alexander Perry. Judge, Commissioners, I'd like to inform the court that that this is being formally assigned to the firm of Atlas Holland Rodriguez, specifically Mr. Rex Leach of the firm.
Need a motion?
Yes, sir.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge, Commissioners.
We have no other item for the Board's
All right,
consideration.
we're still going to be in recess pending that insurance matter.
Yes, sir. If you'd like to call the vote, I guess, for recess?
Sir?
Do you need to call a vote to put it on recess, Steve?
No, you could just...
No.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, sir.
Okay, just wait around.
Will do.
Thanks. Where's Zimmerman? Yes. All right, at this time, we're going to convene and welcome everyone here to the regular Hidalgo County Commissioners Court meeting for today, September 17, 2013. The entire court being present, we have a quorum. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Father in heaven, thank you for this day. Thank you for the privilege of living in a free country. Please bless all those people that help us to be a country that stays free. Thank you for the rain that you have sent. Please guide and protect these people that will decide what is best for this county. Bless our families and help everybody to be healthy and safe. And we ask this in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen.
Let me read a letter that was sent to us from the President of the United States of America, a proclamation as a mark of respect for the victims of the senseless acts of violence perpetrated on September 16, 2013 at the Washington Navy Yard by the authority vested in me as President of the United States by the Constitution and the laws of the United States of America. I hereby order that the flag of the United States shall be flown at half-staff at the White House and upon all public buildings and grounds, at all military posts and naval stations, and on all naval vessels of the federal government in the District of Columbia and throughout the United States and its territories and possessions until sunset, September 20th, 2013. I also direct that the flag shall be flown at half-staff for the same length of time at all United States embassies, legations, consular offices, and other facilities abroad, including all military facilities and naval vessels and stations. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 16th day of September of the year of our Lord 2013 of the independence of the United States of America, that 238, signed Barack Obama, President of the United States. Please join us in a moment of silence in memory of the 12 civilian workers killed by a lone gunman yesterday at the Washington Naval Yard. Thank you. Our consent agenda.
Judge, I would like to ask that consent agenda item 9B, 9D, 9I2 be pulled for discussion.
Okay, can you repeat them again, please?
9B as in boy, 9D as in David, 9I2.
Move for approval of consent agenda, excluding 9B, 9D, and 9I.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Consent agenda item 9B, Judge, we just have a question on that particular item. We don't see that the TxDOT has approved this invoice or the supplemental agreement. This is approval of an invoice related to a supplemental agreement. We don't have any evidence that TxDOT has approved that supplemental agreement,
If you
therefore...
permit me first, and then Mr. Cicero will respond, but let me read the item. This is acceptance and approval of payment of invoice number 3371 in the amount of $45,618.85 for professional services rendered and submitted by Ramiro Gutierrez Engineering Corporation through contract number 314, supplemental agreement number 4. And this is for Nolana Loop project, correct?
The auditor's office just has a point of clarification. We're awaiting an email from TxDOT that we will be making up the difference between supplemental 3 and 4, so it should be okay. We would recommend that the court approve this subject to that clarification from TxDOT.
Move for approval of
One of the issues also has to do with the funding. You want to utilize SIB loan funding?
Yes, sir.
But I believe TxDOT needs to approve.
Yes, sir. That will be included in the clarification from TxDOT.
So once it's approved by TxDOT, then?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Next item, please.
9D, I think it's just it's a correction. The agenda caption should read 15,045.93 instead of 11,757.15 as stated.
The supporting documentation and the difference being that there was an amendment to the authorization, and that changed the amount from 11, that was the original 11,757.15. The invoice submitted, though, clearly states the inclusion of the amendment, which brings the total to 15,485.93. We recommend
Move for
approval.
approval with a correction.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item I, did you?
I2, I think that's a...
Correct. The only thing there is that I am going to read into the record, agenda item 40552, acceptance and approval of the following invoice submitted by contracted project engineer LNG Engineers Incorporated. 1, 3, and 4 are stated as is. Item 2, we will continue the caption to read for mile 2 north, Inspiration to Moorfield Road. That is added to the minutes. And then we can proceed to approve.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Marty.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we're going to be taking some items out of order. Item 19A, a presentation by our insurance consultant, Alamo Insurance.
Yes, sir. This is presentation by Alamo Insurance, Hidalgo County's health benefit consultant, Mr. Gary Looney, to approve the requirements, scope of services, specifications, and other criteria with any modifications, additions, or deletion. Request for proposals that's going to be let out, including your acceptance of the recommended rates that will be accepted by the court, the modification.
And Judge, do you want to reconvene the drainage district at this time?
This is first for Hidalgo County, and then we'll
Okay,
reconvene
okay.
drainage district.
Yeah, we'll take it one at a time.
Morning, Judge,
Good
Commissioners.
morning, sir.
We've been going over the request for proposal for the county. We submitted significant changes in the RFP for this year.
Would you raise that mic a little bit, Gary? So, there you go.
I need to sink
You're a
down.
little taller than most of us here.
Not Commissioner Flores, though, he'd still, but the process, we had to make a number of changes in the RFP this year to coincide with the requirements on the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act. Therefore, we've made those alterations. We also, Judge, when we submit the RFP to the public for response, we're required to make a number of attachments or provide a number of attachments to that RFP, which include a lot of data. Part of that data is our plan design moving forward for 2014, and I have provided a memo to the court to make changes in the plan design for this next year, starting January of 2014. Discussed these changes with Mr. Cruz and the evaluation of the changes and the impact that it has on the budget. The changes that we're recommending to make on our base plan of insurance, changing our deductible from $1,000 to $1,250, changing our office visit co-payment requirement from a flat $25 to a $35 primary care physician and $45 for a specialist. Remember that our plan design does not have any requirements for a copay or for co-insurance for any wellness or annual physical examination, so those would not apply to those.
Excuse me, Gary, yeah, I know you provided a memorandum. I noticed some of the commissioners don't have it. Do you have any extra copies?
Yes, sir.
That's what I was going to ask.
Me too, look.
Mira que no estaba leyendo. Dije,
No.
Thank you.
You would drop the ball.
te minguchi.
Yeah.
I know it's a little unusual for insurance agents, but I put this in 12-point print so that we could all read it.
Marty, can you get one to Ray? Do you have another one?
Marty. Marty.
I got one. All right, thank you, sir. Go ahead and proceed.
You need a second to look at the memo?
No, go ahead, we'll
Okay.
follow you.
So the changes in the base plan, I just had recommended or changes that we have not made any changes in the healthcare plan design in over 3 years. So these are changes that are somewhat minor in impact, but they do have an impact on the overall budget. The high plan, they're the plan that employees are eligible to buy up to, currently is a $500 deductible plan, and I'm recommending that we change that deductible to a $750 deductible plan, with the office co-pays to be $30 for primary care, $40 for specialist care, and an in-hospital indemnity co-payment of $350. If we look at the actual experience on our claims experience, we find that the majority of our claims, right at 60% of our claims, are in the voluntary plan. And yet, they only comprise about 38% of the population. So we've also recommended that we make some changes in the contribution for the buy-up plan. And the contribution level for the buy-up plan, we're recommending the same projected increase that the actuaries had projected for the overall county at 40%. That 40% change then, it sounds like a huge number, but if you actually look at the actual dollar amount, a 40% change for the employee contribution on the buy-up plan is only $12 a month. So it goes from $31 to $43 a month in premium for a substantially beneficial plan. On the plan for the county that provides the coverage for the employees at no cost, that doesn't change. We've not recommended any change in that as far as contribution is concerned. So the county will continue to provide a fully paid health care plan for employees. The contract, again, because of the experience, we do not recommend that you increase the premiums for the dependent coverage under the base plan by 40%. However, we have not changed that contribution level in a number of years, except previously we reduced the actual contribution. So we're requesting or recommending an increase of 20% in the contribution levels for the employees, for their dependents. These changes that we've recommended, the county still, overall contract, overall benefits will still be paying 86% of the total cost of the entire benefit package for employees and dependents. Employees are only required to contribute and participate in the plan to 40%. These recommendations and changes will be part of the RFP process, as the companies that administer the plan need to know what they'll be administering moving forward into the next plan year. So they will become part of an attachment to the plan.
What would be the
I
impact
think it
on
was
the
David,
budgetary amount the county needs to?
I'm sorry, Commissioner.
The budgetary impact of these changes to this number that are being recommended?
The impact is,
We're estimating that the impact as far as to the general fund would be roughly about $500,000 by bringing the rates from our projected 485 level, which is what we use developing our budget, to the 469 that Mr. Looney is recommending, and that we're also concurring with those fees. It would have an impact to the general fund of roughly about $500,000.
What are the savings then? Is that what you're saying on the proposed changes?
Correct.
500,000?
The county would be paying $469 per employee per month, as opposed to the $485 figure that we were using during the budget development process. They'll be paying $469 per employee per month, as opposed to the $485 that we used while developing our budget.
And I'm looking at the second page, is that the one you're talking about?
yeah,
Yes, sir.
Well, it doesn't show a $500,000 savings.
it actually shows on the contribution
It
page.
goes on the first page.
The last paragraph?
The last sheet.
Yeah.
Correct.
We're projecting the total budget for the entire plan to be $24.4 million. Of that, the county's obligation would be $21 million. Judge, remember that one of the things you're looking at. One of the things you're looking at is the difference between the hard cost of the premium reduction in relationship to the contribution by the county. One of the changes that we're making has to do with benefit changes. So the benefit changes are projected to provide another $700,000 in reduction in claim cost. So the total overall change between fixed and claim costs should be in excess of $1 million.
The 24,500,000 represents the claims or the cost of operating the program?
Total cost.
Total cost of the program.
But doesn't include the administration, right? This is just...
No, it includes the total cost, it includes the total cost.
Includes the
Administrative cost is roughly estimated at $61.
administration and stop loss?
Right.
That would be the savings.
Right. Well, no, porque ahorita the savings...
Employees are not paying anything on the health insurance, are they?
No, you're,
I thought the stop loss was going to be modified. I think Commissioner Flores had indicated to,
No, not here.
okay.
350,000 stop loss, right?
I'm
Our
sorry?
stop loss is 350,
No, right now, it's, I believe it's 170,000.
is that 175?
170,000.
Oh, that's on workers'
I believe
comp.
it's
Yeah.
when you say employees would fund $3,480,302, you're talking about monies that they're going to be paying for their families, on the insurance plan,
Dependent coverage, depending on.
That's already been
Right.
paid, yeah.
but not for themselves. I mean,
No.
the county's going to be picking up their tab.
The county pays 100% of the employee contribution for the base plan. There's no change in that.
Before their family or buy up?
Either buy up into the other plan, that's an option to employees.
And last year, our cost was how much, Sergio?
$347 per employee per month.
But what was the total?
The total cost, I believe, the total cost including administration was 22.5 million.
And you're estimating it's going to go up to 24 and a half?
24.4, yes, roughly 24.5.
Okay. Do we have to take action on it, or
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
what's the wishes of the court? And we're talking about, on your page number 2, where it says Plan 1 and Plan 2, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, what is your recommendation, Gary?
Sir?
Which recommendation is yours, which plan?
My recommendations were a 20% increase on the contributions for dependents under the base plan, a 40% increase on the Plan 2, the buy-up plan, with the appropriate changes in the actual benefit plan itself, changing the deductibles on Plan 1 and also on, and co-insurance, deductibles and the office visit co-payments on Plan 1, and the same changes under Plan 2, similar changes.
So we got to do what we got to do, move for approval.
Gary, how does that cost fall in lines of other governments our size and
Very much so.
right in line with? Probably
Offering
good.
a full paid plan for employees is becoming rarer in our
So the county, in fact, is still providing full care for each of its employees. The only thing that's modified is the adjustments to dependency.
That's correct.
And that still is in line to what most.
Still in line.
And the Plan number 2, the buy-up, which is the more expensive one, we all, whoever's on it pays a little bit. $31 now, they want to go up to $43.40.
Okay.
And this is to bring in
I
line
think
with
that's an option,
utilization.
right? It's an option.
It's just we've never adjusted for so
Plan
long.
2.
Right.
Second.
Plan 2 is an option, but
Yeah.
if you buy up, it's going to cost you 43.
No, it's going to go up.
We have a motion and a second to approve the plans that have been recommended by our insurance consultant as stated. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Ahorita.
What
about
Is that also approval of the RFP itself?
Well, what is the
The
RFP?
agenda item. It's all inclusive of the agenda item, and this was part of the agenda
So
item.
2 parts.
So it's the
But what is
packet.
our third-party administrator required to do under this RFP? I mean, we're having to go out there and hire accountants to go check our billings and that kind of thing. Shouldn't they be doing that?
That's the standard operating procedures for a third-party administrator to do, and we have in our contract requirements for them to perform at certain levels of participation and accuracy. We have that in that contract currently.
I think that the auditor you're going to hire is to check for errors.
Right.
and
It's to
omissions.
recover any credits that are due to us.
What about
If it is-
determinations as to medical necessity?
Determination of
Yes,
medical
is
necessity.
that one of the, I know that I've seen some plans that have that as a condition.
There are certain areas of the plan that they require individuals to go through a process of predetermination to determine whether or not they're eligible for
Done at the hospital.
extensive managed care, disease management type programs that are in place. Not every individual qualifies because of routine. When they fall out of the routine, then they are evaluated on a separate basis.
But the RFP has all that.
He wants to know, is it included?
Yes, sir.
All right.
I think Joseph, not Joseph, but Joe had asked a question or made a comment that normally there's about 10 to 15%
Maybe.
error rate.
There may be a range of error.
The range of error that's in our contract for claim accuracy is they're required to have a 97% accuracy in their claim payments.
But the other project we've entered into
Based,
is,
based on those numbers, do you anticipate there'll be some savings to the county?
Well, the only way we can have some savings, we had some big claims this past year, right? There were some big claims, and that's what cost us a lot of money.
We had a very long conference with a couple of local hospital administrators, and one of the things that the insuring companies nowadays do when they negotiate a benefit with the hospital, they'll negotiate their cost basis, they base it on DRGs, which are diagnostic-related groups, which is a Medicare terminology, and they also base it on case rates. Case rate meaning, for instance, for a stay in the hospital, 2-day stay in the hospital for maternity benefit, normal delivery of a child is $1,200. That's max, that's what they pay for that process. So when you go through a audit to determine about large hospital bills, depending on DRGs and case rates, those are fixed dollar amounts. So whatever the hospital bills or doesn't bill is really of no consequence. So when the majority of the contracts are DRGs and case rates, it's difficult to, and where those are where the large expenses are, it's difficult to have recoveries. And remember that we're a self-funded plan, so that there are obligations that the county has to provide information to the third-party administrator also, determining eligibility, determining whether, because the insurance company takes the advice of the county as to who is to be insured or not insured.
And does the RFP require this TPA to do the negotiating, to cut to look at the coding and
We
cut the price down?
actually have in our attachments, we actually have a series of codes, all the top 20 local physicians, the top 3 hospitals, and the
But is it
coding-
up to the, whoever we select to be our third-party administrator to do that?
We, in the RFP process, we're identifying the ones that have the contracts in force currently, that give us the lowest price contracts currently.
And whose responsibility is it to look at what's being billed and what should be paid, based on those codes and
The
contracts?
third-party administrator is required to do that.
What does our local office do? Do we have any obligations? Is there anything you can recommend that we do here locally in our department?
We want to try to get a healthier workforce.
I'm sorry?
We want a healthier workforce. 92% of our expenses, Judge, have to do with actual claim payments to employees or dependents.
Mr. Rooney, does the TPA verify that whenever they get a claim, let's say for a particular prescription, that the employee or the dependent has been diagnosed with that illness?
There are traps or audits, edits that they have in place that do check those things.
So they will verify for that?
They are, but the accuracy is very good, but it doesn't catch everyone. And that there is a lot of, we just had a evaluation of all the Medicaid expenses that were paid in Hidalgo County. It was done by an outside audit circumstance.
Gary, the judge has got a question for you.
We've been here talking. We were looking at the items. We noticed that we paid for 54 gastric bypasses.
Yes, sir.
And I understand that most of the time they are medically necessary. I come from a big family, and there's all kinds of illnesses that come with being obese. But then there's, who decides whether they are or not under the plan?
They were not in the plan for a long time, and then we were requested to put them into the plan about 5 years ago.
Who requested to be put in the plan? Well, you can't say.
How long have we had it?
We've had it about 5 years now. Yeah.
That
Medically
would have saved
necessary,
us
there's
a
a,
lot of money.
Yeah.
treating morbid obesity by using gastric bypass is a controversial issue at best. That is, it used to average, 4 or 5 years ago, the average cost of gastric bypass was in the 30 to 35,000 range.
How
Now-
much?
30 to 35,000. Now, in and out of the hospital, in and out of outpatient, in some cases, it's for the banding process, it's 12,500 flat fee.
But what if there's complications, they gotta go back?
The recidivist is fairly high. But,
The big thing is, if the person needs it because it's a medical condition, that's understandable. But if it's going to be simply cosmetic,
No.
you know, we don't want to pay for it.
Right, correct.
It's not an elective, I think.
It is,
But those are the kind of things, who looks out for us in looking at the plan as to what's covered, not covered? Is that your role?
that's my role.
Okay.
But they were asked.
How do we know that it's happening?
How do you know that the gastric bypasses are happening?
No. Whoever responsible for monitoring.
Well, that's probably should be our health director.
Well, we have quarterly meetings that we meet on, and go over all the claims information, go over all of the high priority areas that we have. We have quarterly sessions.
If the court is entertaining that particular procedure not be included,
Well, it can
this
be
is the time
included
to do it.
with order from a doctor.
It's medical, yes, I
No,
think
no,
they're all
no. I
based
mean,
on
there's a lot of them that
medical
don't get
necessity,
orders
yes.
from doctors.
It's best,
This is not an elective procedure.
No, it's-
It's all based on medical necessity. So that's the basis of how
No,
they're,
boy, when a doctor can sign off on it,
Yeah.
request for it.
What about giving us a report every 3 months to the court where we are on the plan, you know, how much
Be-
we're
be
into
pleased-
it?
be-
How much we've saved, hopefully?
be pleased to do that, Judge.
Well,
Yeah.
we need to monitor.
You know, the bottom line here, we had quite a bit of money on that health fund at one time, right?
yes.
We used to have millions, how many millions we have in there? That got pulled out for our budget the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, they dipped in there twice. Sergio,
They've taken.
There's a lot of money in that
last,
fund.
Yeah.
There used to be a
Low
lot.
fund balance, but now it's all depleted.
we removed,
we utilized it 3 times, 3
Yeah.
years.
So there was at least 12 or something million or so?
About 5 million or so.
I believe the highest one was about $9 million.
Nine,
Yeah.
yes.
The
Laura,
average conference was about $11 million.
So we had nearly $20 million in reserves.
But that's depleted, right?
In between
That's
both.
It's
gone.
being depleted, right?
We
Yes, sir.
depleted them, yes.
All right, well, the issue here is, do we approve the RFP as presented,
And the rates presented.
and the rates?
Yes, sir. That is inclusive of your
thought-
approval.
I had a motion, right?
Yeah, but the motion had
that's already been
it.
approved.
For the
Why don't we do it
entire-
again? Make sure we address the RFP.
Yes, sir.
No, move for approval on that.
On the entire
I think it's
item.
approval of the requirements, scope of services, specifications, and other criteria.
I need a second. Second. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank
Do
you,
you want to now reopen the
Go to
drainage
the-
district?
At this time, we're going to recess our Commissioners Court meeting and reconvene our Drainage District meeting. Mr. Garza?
Yours.
Yes, sir. Basically, we'd like for the board's consideration to take a similar
Mirror
action.
the action of Commissioners Court.
So move.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much, Judge Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn our Drainage District. Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Now go back to convene our regular County Commissioners Court meeting. I notice we have Mr. Armando Martinez, our state representative, and your item is that,
Judge, that item is 20E.
20 what?
20E, and if I may, Judge, Commissioners, item 20E is discussion regarding dissolution of Community Rail District. That's the item on the agenda for discussion.
Good morning. How are we doing?
Good morning, Judge. Good morning, Commissioners. What a pleasure to be here, and always a privilege. Now, as you can see, I'm in a different capacity now back home, finally working after 8 months in the legislature, putting out fires up there and then now putting out fires in the local community. So it's great to be back and be before you today and talk about the commuter rail district. I believe that we passed that legislation back in 2007. I thank you all for all your vision and your hard work and your dedication. One thing we can always say about Hidalgo County is that you all have vision, and the importance of having a commuter rail district for our area, not only for transportation and alternate means of transportation, but also as a first responder, as a firefighter, as a paramedic. You also face many challenges with massive evacuation in the event of a catastrophe. We recently did a disaster drill at Knapp Medical Center last week, and if you would have to remove all those patients, and that's only Knapp Medical Center, it would deplete your resources completely, because one patient per ambulance, and could you imagine how many other hospitals we have in trying to transport those patients out and evacuate them safely. So that is another reason for the commuter rail when it comes to mass evacuation, things of that nature, especially when you're getting from the lower part of the valley and trying to move those patients out west. It would definitely make sense. During the time of a hurricane, you've seen so many cars and congestion that can occur. We saw that in Houston a few years ago with Ike and the congestion and traffic problems that it caused as well. So this would be another alternate means for evacuation. And I applaud you all for your hard work in putting this together and giving us a resolution for that legislation back in 2007 so we can address these issues. It's not only about today, but of course it's always about the future, and I applaud you for your vision about the future and making this happen. So.
Representative Martinez, if we may, I think there's a great degree of clarity that we need to understand. Obviously, you have a board that's appointed by Commissioners Court.
Correct.
I think there was a lot of thoughts in the past that this board had taxing authority. They were able to be a taxing district. Can you clarify a lot of the specifics?
Absolutely, and I think there's a lot of misinformation, misunderstanding, misinterpretation of this legislation. First of all, as stated in the Transportation Code under Chapter 174, the commuter rail district does not have ad valorem property tax authority, which is the basis of any property or taxing district that you want to create. So under this law, or under this bill, it does not have any taxing authority for ad valorem taxes, so it cannot happen. Although, if there was the ability to have a sales or use tax, which Hidalgo County is already capped out, which they cannot use, they would be able to do that. And we know that any type of tax that is going to be presented to a county or municipality has to go out for a majority vote of the voters. But being that Hidalgo County is capped out at 2%, there's no way for that to happen. So the quick answer is no, they do not have any taxing authority. It's stated on the bill. And it's, I believe, the only city that's ever been able to pass that was Weatherford back in the 60s through legislation to bust the cap over 2%. Now, you have cities such as Austin, San Antonio, Corpus Christi that have used use and sales tax for the rail, but that's because they were under the cap, under the 2% cap, which we are at here in Hidalgo County. So there's no way for us to use it. So even if the rail district would attempt to do a sales and use tax, there's no way to get around it because we're already capped out here in Hidalgo County.
Another question that I had is in regards to the overlap. I see Andrew Cannon in the audience. He's with the Regional Mobility, well, he's not with the RMA, he's with the MPO. Excuse me, sorry about that, Andrew. And then we have the RMA as well, obviously that's looking at infrastructure and all. Is there an overlap in the overseeing of planning for whether it be rail or roadways or?
I wouldn't think that there would be too much of an overlap. I think you work in conjunction with those because by creating this district, by what you all did in creating the district, you created a positioning board. And that is very, very important because the important aspect is that if state or federal funds become available through this board, you have access to those funds. As we learned in the past with the American Recovery Act, that funds were made available to the government entities for these types of projects. In other words, if the governmental entity itself had plans in place for a particular water project, they were giving funding priority. So many entities lost out on funding because they were not in the position to accept funds. Out of the $8 billion set aside for rail projects, there were only 214 applications from 34 states requesting funding for small rail projects. And so it's critical that we're in position to apply for these government funds when they become available. So that's why I say there really isn't an overlap. You've created a positioning board that would be available to obtain any type of federal or state funds with this in place.
The issue on the agenda is whether or not we have the authority to dissolve this district. And, you know, I'd like to hear from Mr. Crane on whether or not we legally can do it. And if we do, will we owe any money to the federal government? Because the district was given a grant.
Correct.
And they used that money to pay for a study.
A feasibility study, that's correct.
Yeah, that's a lot of study. And will we have any obligation to the federal government if we dissolve this thing and just let that money go to waste?
And I believe that, I mean, I'm not advised to give you an answer on that. I would refer to your legal counsel.
That question.
All right, sir.
Under the Transportation Code, which is where the commuter rail district statutes are, there is no general provision about dissolution of entities created under the Transportation Code. For example, in the Water Code, Chapter 49 does have a provision for dissolution of entities created under the Water Code. The Transportation Code does not. There is a Attorney General opinion in 2008 construing the bail bond board, which is under Occupations Code. And also, like the Transportation Code, the Occupations Code does not have a general provision that relates to dissolving entities created under the Occupation Code. So the commuter rail district is not by itself in that there's other entities created under different codes other than the Transportation Code that do not have a general provision in the code for dissolving that entity. Therefore, according to the Attorney General and according to our statutory interpretation, which we think is the same as the Attorney General, that the only way the commuter rail district can be dissolved is by an act of the legislature.
Okay.
Andrew, if we may, obviously we're hoping that, the main issue is we're hoping that we're all moving the same sync.
Yes, sir.
And I know that we've had some dialogue, a little bit of what the court should consider on how we move forward together, all in sync. It's probably the biggest issue the court has is that we report board members to certain boards, and we want to ensure that they're acting in the best interest of the residents, the taxpayers and all. Obviously, we don't want to create anything that's going to be a burden to our taxpayers, but we want to show that we're progressive and we're moving forward and we're getting the greatest return off every tax dollar possible, at the same time being able to take advantage of state and federal funding that's out there.
Yes, sir.
Any insight on this issue?
Well, honestly, Commissioner and Judge, Commissioners, I appreciate being here this morning. I think this is the missing link in what the MPO does. Much of what we do in the way of transportation planning is roadway, sidewalks, connectivity, multimodalism. I think this is the missing link in what we do. We need to look at a way to engage that. I would propose, I've had a conversation with Ken Jones, Executive Director over at the Lower Rio Grande Valley Development Council. We could look at trying from the staff process of moving that in-house, either with the MPO or with the COG, to bring that in to support the commuter rail district in a way to help them be able to find grants to move forward with what their visions are and incorporate those visions into my 25-year long-range plan. It really does work hand in hand well together. And they now have that ability to be able to do that and go out and seek more grants. And we're talking about free money that we would never have to return to Uncle Sam. We would never have a burden to the federal government for. It may come in time that we see that the usefulness or the dream of the commuter rail district isn't as viable as we hoped. I think it will prove to be as viable as we hope, because I think it's that real missing link in a major metropolitan area that we are in the Lower Rio Grande, growing the way that we are, robust as we are, with the population density that we have and with the low-income population that we have. that missing tool that we need to incorporate into the whole picture of what we do in transportation planning.
Yeah, but Andrew, and that's what I want to key in, and Representative Martinez, is probably the biggest criticism that we have at this point in time is not financially feasible.
Yes, sir.
And in the current needs, the needs of mobility, we're not at that moment. We have board members that have sat on that board.
Yes, sir.
And have heavily done research, arguing that it is not efficient, it's not financially a great idea. I'm just offering an opportunity to rebuttal that.
I think it's efficient, financially viable. Commissioner, as Commissioner Palacios and Commissioner Flores knows, who sits on my board currently, I have a 25-year plan that I have projects on there, long range, that are unfunded, that are not financially viable right now. Our job as transportation planners and what we do at the MPO is figure out ways to try to make those projects viable. In the long run, they may prove not to be viable, but at least we want to give that a shot to work towards that viability and see if we can incorporate that into that. And that's why we carry a 25-year plan, and that's why I carry a fiscally responsible plan. My plan is budgeted out to the zero. I don't plan for anything we don't have money for, and my board doesn't approve anything we don't have money for. But we need to have the vision, if you will, to look long range into these other opportunities. And if a year, 3, 5 years, we come back and the representative says, you know what, we gave it our best shot, we agree it's something that's just not going to move forward, it's not viable, so be it. If in 1, 3, 5 years we come back and we see that there's opportunities out there through grant programs to establish this, save right away now, where there's opportunities, instead of so much like what we do in transportation planning now, we have to fight with right-of-way difficulties because we didn't plan 10, 15, 20 years in advance, then it makes the project more viable. I don't know enough about the project to say whether it is or isn't. What I'm telling you as a transportation planner is that I think it's something we need to continue to look at, and I very much would hate to lose this resource as a tool that completes the transportation system as a whole, and we would like to look at a way to bring that in-house and provide that staff support so we can continue to help the Commuter Rail Board find those grants, those free monies, no burden to our population, so that we can look at the viability, continue on, and then make an educated decision about that in a couple of years down the road. Whether it's pro or con, I have no idea, but I sure would like to get the tools before me and lay them before you so we can make that decision educatedly.
We've had a request from a citizen, Virginia Townsend, that desires to make a statement on this issue. Am I correct?
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Yes, the Owls have been very much against this project, and the reason why is one of our members has done extensive research, a lot, and it's just not viable. It's not at all. And we tried to find a way that it might be, but if you're going to put in a plan that it's there for the next 20 years, maybe, I could understand. But before that, no. This is the Rio Grande Valley. We are set up so differently than most places. And we start where? Rio Grande City, go to Brownsville, maybe over to Padre. We are very much for the bus things that are starting now, because we want transportation for people who don't have cars. But it's not going to be rail that we can see. They're not going to use it. They're not going to be there. It's a straight line. It's not viable. So we were very disappointed. We thought by dissolving it would be kind of easy to just say, okay, it's done. But if it cannot be dissolved, and if it's taken into MPO as part of that, and they work together, and they project it 25 years down the road, maybe that will work. But it's just, I don't see it. And they've already spent $400,000 plus, almost $500,000 on a feasibility study that said it wasn't feasible the way I read it. And the last I knew, and they said, no, that isn't true, but the last I knew, they wanted to go out for another grant, for another feasibility study, and we were really saying, no, that would not be good. So it isn't that we're against progress. We would love to see progress, but it's got to make sense. That's all. Thank you very much for your time.
Well, I couldn't agree with more. Obviously, change is the most constant thing in our universe, and obviously, our days of, you go back 50 years, most people wouldn't think that we'd have the infrastructure, or the need for infrastructure that we have today. I believe it's going to be a growing problem with new medical school and with a lot of more population growth and all. It's going to be a driving need of more infrastructure, more infrastructure. Now, I'm not saying it's commuter rail.
Yes, sir.
But I do agree to be progressive. But
Yes, sir.
more so, I agree that we all have to work in synergy. We have to find that synergy to make sure that we're making sound decisions for our taxpayers. And that we're getting the greatest return on every dollar. And that's my priority. Those are my comments.
I agree, absolutely, and I understand the concerns about profitability and whether something can sustain itself. I do. You know, the areas where rail in those situations do work, it's different. The population density is different. There's high tolls on their freeways and highway systems that individuals have to pay to be able to use those, so it's a good alternative. It's high parking density. They have one downtown urban area where people are working. The valley isn't made up that way, and it works a little bit differently. All I'm proposing on this from my standpoint is that it's something I think we ought to look at so we can get ahead of that curve with the density and with the growth that we're having here in the valley. So if it does turn out to be viable some years down the road, then we've at least put the footboards in to be able to move from that and go forward, instead of so much like what we have to do with highway and roadway construction. We have problems with right-of-way because the growth is so substantial that we can't go back and get the right-of-way that we need to do our expressway. We can't get the right-of-way we need to do an interchange or something. And again, I'm not saying it's a commuter rail. Maybe that right-of-way preservation becomes another high-speed arterial in the future. But I do think that this is an opportunity to be able to get in early, look at it, make those preservations. There will be additional studies and angles that will need to be looked at with this. I read the viability report. I wouldn't say that it said that it wasn't viable. I will say that we have some growth to do before we get there, and there needs to be more put in place with our mass transit system, and Valley Metro, McAllen, Bus, they're all working towards that. And once that backbone is in place, it makes something like this even more viable. But we're not there yet. We're working towards it. Is it going to be 10 years? No. But will it be some amount of time down the road? Possibly. And I would just like us to be, as a region, prepared for that in the early stages as much as possible.
All right, so I guess we're back to that vision thing you were talking about. Who knows what this valley is going to look like or need in 30, 40 years.
That's true, Judge, and that's why I would like to continue on with this, with the court's blessing, and I'd like some time to visit with Ken Jones over at the COG for a transitional phase. But if we can bring the staffing, if that's of any concern to the taxpayers and to the court, and bring the staffing in-house with either the MPO or the Lower Rio Grande to be able to provide that support. I mean, we're talking about preparing agendas and helping them find grant programs so that their board can make that decision. We certainly want to be that support to be able to be there, but I certainly wouldn't want to move forward without the court's blessings to be able to do so.
Well, it's our obligation to look at service more than profit.
Absolutely, sir.
But, well, since legally we can't act on it, is there any further discussion?
No, those are my comments.
I would recommend that at least quarterly, the committee, the board could come to Commissioners Court and give us any update at what taking place, what they're doing or not doing.
Commissioner, I think that's a fabulous idea. I think the court and the taxpayers need to stay abreast.
Sure.
That's why we have our open public meetings, and that's why I come here to the court, so as the MPO can give those updates as well as what's taking place with taxpayer dollars. And I certainly will visit with Reverend Edge, the chairman, to make those concerns known.
That would be my recommendation, Judge.
Okay, well, we don't have a board member here, but except Frank.
I don't know if the representative.
Commissioner Palacios is requesting quarterly reports or status as to where we are, where the board is.
To allow us an opportunity for
Just to find out where we're at and
discussion.
what's going on.
If you would tell that to the chairman. Well,
Thank you
then
for
there's
being here.
no need for any action, so. Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen, very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for those dollars you brought down in the new highway.
Well,
We got to give Armando credit. He was the individual responsible. While we have a very good legislative team, the reason we're going to get the dollars to connect that road from Expressway 83 near Valverde to Monte Cristo and beyond is because of the efforts of Armando and working at the Transportation Committee of the state. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Not over here.
Not over yet.
Okay, we're skipping around to accommodate some people's schedules. Item number 13, our Head Start program.
13.
Good morning. Before you
Flores.
are two items. One of them has to do with the discussion and approval and appointment of one community representative by each member of the Commissioners Court to serve at the Hidalgo County Head Start Program Policy Council for a one-year term according to 45 CFR Chapter 13, 103.50B, 1-B7, beginning October 2013. And so we would like to find out if any member of the court is ready to submit their representative for approval.
I know I am. In fact, is here today, Mr. Jesse Vela, who is also a member of the PSJA Independent School District Board of Trustees, a lifelong educator, and he was my appointee, and I believe he has no problem in getting reappointed. Am I correct?
That's right.
That's who I would nominate.
So moved.
Okay.
Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
How many are up, or how many?
Okay, in the memorandum that we've included for you, it showed Mr. Vela is eligible for another year. They can serve 3 years. Your representative, Richard Garcia, has served 1 year. He's eligible if you want to rename him or if you want to name somebody else.
I want to name somebody else.
Okay.
Mrs. Watts from Donna. Watts?
Watts. The name again?
Oh, what's the first name, Ms. Watts? Okay.
Preaching to get it on the agenda
Who gets the name?
next week.
Okay, okay, so Ms. Watts,
Watts.
Okay.
W-A-T-T-S. Watts.
okay,
She served there in the board in Donna some time
Okay.
ago.
Ms. Flores, if I may read for the record, Commissioner Flores wanted to assure that Jose Luis Trigo from Sullivan City be appointed.
okay.
And for Precinct 4, who do we have for the?
You have Ms. Saldivar, Ms. Judith Flores
yes,
Saldivar.
yes.
And she's eligible for another term, too.
Yeah, we'd like to reappoint her.
You will, okay.
All right, we've got those 4 names, 4 additional names.
Yes.
I need a motion to approve those 4 nominees.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. The next item
And
is
Mrs.
related.
Watts' first name will be provided to you a little later. Eva Watts.
Eva Watts, okay. And we'll just call your office for contact information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. The next item has to do with the budget, discussion and approval to submit the following 2014 budget application, Department of Health and Human Services and the Texas Department of Agriculture. There is an explanation of the budget and where we are and where we've been. And today I have, there's 2 people from the Policy Council that are accompanying me to talk to you after I have made my presentation. One of them is Mr. Vela, and the other one is Ms. Rodriguez, Mary Rodriguez. She is a parent, and Mr. Jesse Vela is the Vice Chair for the Policy Council. If you will look at the information that we provided for you, or we'll review that quickly, the sequestration required that we cut $1,327,253, and back then we cut positions up to 24 of them. We cut other operating expenses to make the ends meet there with regards to balancing the budget for the remainder of 2013. For 2014, we had the additional cost of the insurance premiums and also the liability insurance, and we had
$10,000 worth of other operating costs. As voted on today, we had budgeted in the budget for a cost of $486, which is down by $17 from what we budgeted. So in looking at our budget, we would make that adjustment. Now the cost would be to the employee $122 per month per year. That makes an amount of a total of $1,023,336 for the premium insurance increase. We've gone ahead and in 2014 and in making plans and streamlining further, we wanted to maintain the number of children we were serving. So we went ahead and cut another 10 positions. And so at this point, we still have a shortfall of the amount of money that would be incurred by the employees. In the budget, before I walked in here today, we had proposed that our employees would have to bear the cost of $89 per month per employee. Now, the amount is down by $17, so now we're asking that the employees bear the cost of $72 per month per employee. You see the remainder of the budget explanation, costs and increases and decreases that were there. We've worked very hard to try to, as I said, keep the number of children and yet at the same time balance the budget. But when it came to this increase, it was something we could not totally absorb. So this is why our budget is minus the amount of money on the premium increase for what you see there. So we'll make that adjustment. In the end, we're minus a little over $600,000. And we'll get the exact figure. As I see it here, it's $72 times 12 months times 699 employees is about $603,936. And in regards to our budget, we've really trimmed down on everything. We've streamlined every aspect we could and have reached the end to where we just can't cut anymore, and we are still short. And that's the reason why we're having to pass on this expense to the employees.
That's the reason you have to do what?
Pass the expense to the employees. The partial expense, not total, not all the amount, but at least $72 per person per month. And that is one of the topics that I would like Mr. Vela to address before you approve our budget, and perhaps, he can talk to you a little bit more about our concern.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners.
Good morning, sir.
Again, my name is Jesse Vela. I'm here as a representative of the Policy Council. I'm the Vice Chairman. You already received a memorandum outlining the particulars regarding the financial situation regarding Head Start. A little bit of history. Head Start dates back to 1965. President Lyndon B. Johnson enacted the Elementary and Secondary Education Act, included early education, early childhood. Hidalgo County has served as the grantee since 1982, or 31 years. And for that, we are grateful. We appreciate your role in leading and supporting of Head Start, the county, and the children that it serves. We at the Policy Board were proud of the fact that together and with the administration have served, and they've been very diligent in making the necessary cuts and not sacrificing services to children that it serves. Head Start serves over 3,600 children, early education, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. We are committed not to cut services for children. We continue to look for ways to cut money, save wherever we can, but never sacrifice children. The word sequester took on a very, very ugly meaning for all of us. Head Start lost over $1.2 million. Hidalgo County lost millions of dollars. Public school entities, of course, lost millions of dollars. So everybody had to make cuts. Hidalgo County Head Start will continue to commit to provide services to all its children, and that's part of the reason we're here. We're asking, as Policy Board members, representatives, to ask for your financial assistance when you make the final decision regarding the budget. And I know the issue is with your insurance and other insurance-related topics, so that the employees, and by the way, we have 700 very dedicated, very committed employees that work for Head Start, dating back to at least under the county 1982. This will be a first for Head Start. Head Start is funded by federal funds. And because of what's going on in Washington, D.C., the fact that the Elementary and Secondary Education Act has not been reauthorized, that has created some problems. And as long as that continues, the sequester will continue to affect us. So I'm here representing the policy board. Ms. Mary Gomez, who is a parent, also represents the policy board. We will do whatever it takes, but never sacrifice children. Early learning has had a transformational effect on this county, dating back to at least 1982. Transformational learning, transformational in terms of education. Many of our products of Head Start are currently the leaders in our community, in city government, local governments, and state governments. Many of our children who have gone through Head Start have been very, very successful. We appreciate your consideration. We thank you again for everything that you continue to do for this county. I know that decisions are hard. They're difficult, but I look for better times ahead. Hopefully, we'll have reauthorization at some point in the future, and maybe things will change financially in the country. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any comments or questions? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Administration recommends approval of this budget to be submitted with the changes related to the new insurance premiums that have been approved today. And we will submit that to, Policy Council will meet tomorrow on this. Thank you.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Mr. Vela, you know, I think it's important that we point out, we're also having a difficult time. We had a $21 million shortfall, and we're trying to adopt the budget without increasing our tax rate, which is proven to be challenging, but it's going to happen. But we had to make some cuts. We requested a 3% reduction across the board. We had to request that our employees get more involved in taking care of that insurance premium, so just like you're doing, and quite a few other things that we're having to change in the way we do business. And we're sorry about the sequester, but you know, maybe it'll turn around when they get back to start working again. But unless there's any other question?
Nope. We don't want to hurt any kids or any employees or anything.
He said he has 36.
Can you come to the...
Good morning, thank you very much. My name is Maria, Maria Taxpayer.
Maria what, ma'am?
Maria Canto.
Maria
Okay,
Canto.
I'm just a
You can lower
taxpayer.
the...
Yeah.
I'm just a taxpayer. The gentleman said that he has 3,600 children
Can you speak into the mic?
in Head Start, 3,600 children, and 700 employees, so that means a ratio of 5 kids per employee. I'm a school teacher. I used to work in Mexico City, and that means that we had over here, pedagogically speaking, we can have 20 kids per employee. So this is just too much, too many employees. It's just my humble opinion.
I'll answer the question. We have 199 classrooms. By federal law, we can only have 17 that are 3-year-olds in a classroom and 20 that are 4-year-olds in a classroom. So our classrooms are limited to that number, but they do have 3- and 4-year-olds. And we are also child care. And under child care licensing, you have to have the 2 adults, of course, with that number of children. Well, that's total employees.
Can you talk into the mic?
Yes, that includes bus drivers, custodians, cooks. Yes, right. The ratios in the classroom are 17-1 and 20-1.
Right. The Head Start program has proven itself to be the most successful program coming out of the war and poverty days of Lyndon B. Johnson. And I think it's demonstrated itself time and time again throughout the country, not just in our area. But was there a motion and a second? Those in favor, say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries. Let's go back to the beginning of our agenda. Okay, well, I would again apologize. We're going to move to item number 6A.
Thank you, Judge Commissioners. Good morning. Karina Cardoso with the Public Affairs Office. We're asking you to take this out of order because we have some UTPA and South Texas College students in the audience we're recognizing today. The item reads, recognition of UTPA and STC Hidalgo County Employee Independent Scholarship recipients for 2013 and 2014. And some of the students needed to go to class, so thank you for taking this out of order.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I may begin, the Hidalgo County Scholarship Program was first approved in 2008 as a resolution to help support employees and their dependents' goals of obtaining a higher education. The scholarship was first implemented in collaboration with South Texas College, and funds were allocated through private donations. The scholarships are not in any way paid for by Hidalgo County. In April 2009, a resolution was approved in Commissioners Court to extend the scholarship to also include the University of Texas Pan American. Since then, the program has been able to fund approximately 4 recipients on an annual basis, continuing to support access to higher education for employees and their dependents. I would like to recognize at this time our partners from STC and UTPA who have helped us administer the scholarship program. From UTPA, we have Ms. Brenda Solis, who's the Director of Scholarships. If you can please join me in the podium. And from South Texas College, representing the Student Financial Services, we have Ms. Judy Ansaldua, who's a Financial Aid Outreach Specialist. So the recipients complete a scholarship application. It's competitive. It includes a personal essay on their community service and volunteer experience, and they need to answer what they have done to help make Hidalgo County better. They must also address one of the following questions in their essay. If you are given a chance to continue your education, what major would you pursue and why? Where do you see Hidalgo County in the next 10 years? And how will your degree help to serve Hidalgo County? The scholarship applications are independently reviewed at each school by a scholarship committee judged on GPA, service, awards, and the essay. Our office is then notified of the selected recipients, and now today we are here to recognize them for their accomplishments. We would like to present them with a congratulatory letter from County Judge Ramon Garcia, along with a special certificate of recognition. So at this time, I'd like to recognize the recipients from South Texas College. We have Ms. Ashley Garza. She is a dependent, and she is the daughter of Ms. Sandra Garza, who's an employee at the Hidalgo County District Clerk's Office. Now, Ashley couldn't be here, but her mom, Sandra, is here today. I'd like to present these to her on her behalf. Congratulations. Thank you. Also for South Texas College, and these receive $1,000 for the 2013 and 2014 academic school year. We have Ms. Aisa Silva, who is a dependent, and she is a daughter of Mr. Ruben Silva, who's an employee at the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office. And they're not here today, so we'll be sure to get this to her. From UTPA, we have $2,000 for the 2013 and 2014 academic school year. We'd like to present that to Mr. Uriel Ramos, who's an employee at the Hidalgo County Elections Department. And if y'all can stay up here, the recipients, we're going to take a picture at the end. And Ms. Abigail Cepeda, who's a dependent, and she is the daughter of Ms. Patricia Salas, who's an employee at the Hidalgo County WIC Department. And she's joined by her parents, Patricia Salas and Mario Cepeda. Congratulations. Thank you. There you go. Thank you very much. So once again, thank you so much. I would like to open it up for the representatives from respective colleges if they have a few words to say.
On behalf of the Office of Student Financial Services at South Texas College, I really wanted to extend our appreciation to the county for this opportunity, and we look forward to serving these scholarship recipients as well as all the population, of course, of Hidalgo County. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of UTPA, it's an honor to be here. It's my first time, and we're very pleased with our students that we have. Abigail and Uriel, they're very dedicated students, and it's a pleasure to be able to serve them and be able to help them with their scholarships in order to pay for their tuition expenses.
And if any of the recipients, I would like to ask that you approach the microphone and talk a little bit about what you're studying and how this will help you.
Well, I'm majoring in pre-med bio and minoring in chemistry, and this scholarship is going to help me pay for my tuition on what I couldn't pay for. So thank you.
My daughter Ashley, she couldn't be here today. She's studying, I'm sorry, nutrition. She couldn't be here today because she has class. She starts class at 7 in the morning. This is going to help her greatly with her tuition, with stuff that she couldn't pay for. Thank you.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. My name is Uriel Ramos. I work for the Hidalgo County Elections Department. I'm doing my master's in public administration at UTPA. I just want to say thank you to the committee. This is going to be a great help for me. Thank you.
Well, congratulations to all of you. We wish you well.
Keep on trucking.
Do they turn over? A little bit more because of the podium. Thank you very much, right there. You want to hold a certificate? Perfect. Ready? 1, 2, 3. One more.
Thank you.
Thank you. I did want to mention on a side note that I want to take this opportunity to inform the court that our scholarship funds have been depleting over the years since it was funded in 2009 with private donations. We're going to be exploring financing mechanisms to continue to sustain the scholarship. We'll present to court for consideration. And just so you know, the funds are managed by the respective colleges themselves. So we'll be approaching you with some suggestions. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take a short recess, waiting on the judge.
He's coming in, Commissioner.
All right, well, let's get back to the regular agenda. Order open forum. First presenter, Opal Billman. Yolanda.
Good morning. My name is Opal Billman. My remarks are founded on public court records at the courthouse. When I was sued for divorce, I thought the only legal issue was dividing the community property of Joe and me between Joe and me. I didn't know it was about giving all of our community property to someone else for free. That realization came much later. The first documented court order issued a division of a non-existent $650,000 for our divorce settlement. Joe was awarded $383,500, or 59%. My 41%, or $266,500, was awarded to Joe. Joe could buy my land with my money. I appealed this court order to the 13th Court of Appeals. The appellate court reached 3 conclusions. First, the court affirmed the lower court's $650,000 of yet-to-be-earned income as our divorce settlement. Second, the court diagnosed me to have mental illness, which, since nobody else ever did before, is the 13th Appellate Court practicing medicine without a medical license. Thirdly, the 13th Appellate Court judged that any property owned by Joe and me, not included in the divorce settlement, remains owned equally and undivided by both Joe and me, which actually really is the law. Following these actions by the courts, a different district judge signed another court order which decrees an entirely different divorce settlement. This court order awards Joe all of our community property and court orders Joe to give the court-appointed beneficiary $266,500. In a document titled Oality Deed of Trust, the court-appointed beneficiary claims to have bought our community property from Joe for $10. To summarize, Joe was awarded all of the non-existent $650,000 and all of our real community property. At this point, we have 2 district judges, 2 community properties, and 2 different divorce settlements. I was awarded an injunction which illegally confines me to the house in police-enforced false imprisonment. The purpose of an injunction is to stop someone from doing something they are doing. I managed our RV park. An injunction places a hardship on one spouse the other spouse does not have. Therefore, the injunction cannot be legally activated until the divorce is final. And we also have 2 different court actions. In any divorce, a legal process occurs. Purpose of the legal process is to finalize the divorce. The divorce cannot be finalized until the legal process is ended with a final divorce. We have the legal process and we have the final divorce, 2 actions. This legal process has resulted in all of our community property being given to a court appointee. That's not a final divorce. The court's extracurricular activities during the legal process did not result in a divorce settlement of our community property between Joe and me and a final divorce. Therefore, these legal process actions are irrelevant. They don't count. There is no longer an option to finalize a divorce. Yet the legal process is ongoing, evidenced by holding me in false imprisonment, under arrest, with jail time, trials, and continuance barratry. All of this was supposed to be prevented by 2 laws the court refuses to uphold. When Joe died, the case is dismissed. The community property remains owned by Joe and me. State law passes Joe's estate to his 3 heirs and my community property to me. And I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Sergio, next speaker.
Morning, Commissioners. I just wanted to advise you and the general public that we will be filing the proposed budget today with the county clerk and with the county auditor. It is already available on the county's internet for public inspection. Just a quick summary on the proposed budget. The proposed budget was developed using a tax rate of 59 cents per $100 of valuation. This is the 11th consecutive year that we've held the tax rate at 59 cents. This has been since 2003. The tax levy for 2014 is $161.5 million. That consists of a levy for the Maintenance and Operation Fund of $142.5 million and $18.9 million for the Debt Service Fund. It means an increase in taxable valuation of $590 billion, or roughly about 2%. It's far from the days before we began the economic recession, when we used to have 10 to 12% tax valuation increases. However, this 2% is a positive sign of economic growth within the region. We hope it keeps steadily increasing. The total budget for all funds is $245.2 million. Of that, the general fund budget is $178 million. Special revenue funds is $24.5 million. The debt service fund budget will be $20.3 million, and enterprise funds, which are our health insurance, and our workers' comp, will be $22.4 million for the 2014 fiscal year, as proposed in my budget. Just quick highlights. The budget does include 3% across-the-board reductions for all departments. It does include increases to fringe benefits totaling $4.7 million, which are going to be for health insurance, workers' comp, and the retirement rate. There are no cost of living adjustments for county employees, nor are there any step increases for the law enforcement personnel. We will be utilizing $11.7 million from our fund balance to balance the budget. We're estimating that we would be left with $22.7 million as our fund balance for the beginning of the fiscal year, roughly about 12.8% of our proposed budget. Court, I did set a workshop for this Friday, budget workshop, in case the court wants to discuss any items within our proposed budget before we actually adopt the budget. Next Tuesday, September 24th, we will be having a public hearing on the proposed budget. We will also be setting the salaries, allowances, and other compensations for county employees at that time, as well as adopting the 2014 county budget. Also, we will have the adoption of the county tax rate during that time. For that adoption proceedings, we will need at least 4 members of the court present in order for the county to be able to levy a tax on its citizens. Again, those proceedings will be held next Tuesday, September 24th. Thank you, Court.
Thank you, sir. Next is Maria Canto.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Well, I'm here just to remind you a few things. Like, for instance, the medical school, I know it's already a done deal, but I have to remind you that Hidalgo County has 800,000 inhabitants, which you collect $30 million for property taxes. And then Cameron County has half they collect also. And the school is going to cost $50 million to deal in 1 year. And the government is giving us $10 million a year. They give us a grant of $50 million spread in 5 years. That means that we will be needing $40 million a year. Where are we going to get that money? Just to run the school. Now, the 11-story building. We're going to build a building. We do have one that Sergio said, I was watching TV. I don't remember if it was last Tuesday or the Tuesday before, and he said, what are we going to do with the old building? And it reminded me as if it were an old shoe that we're going to throw away. Why didn't we use this building as a complement of the other one? Why do we need to build an 11-story building? We are a poor county if you haven't seen it. We are a service-based economy. The money people make, they barely make it just to pay the bills. And every time you offer something or propose something, we're digging a bigger hole. Now I'm hearing the rail. 15 years ago, not even Houston accepted a rail. They accepted for fast speed in the middle of the freeways they already had. And this was Houston, and they already had a lot of people. We don't have that very many people. Have you noticed how spread we are? Have you been in walkscore.com? We are an auto-based society. We depend on our own cars because we don't have sidewalks to walk. I'm talking about we, the earthlings, the taxpayers who live out in the subdivisions. Fernie, please. I'm going to give you some croquis that I made. I live at the Monmac Road, on the Monmac Road. I've been there for 20 years, and I've seen it grown. Just along that road, we live almost 9,000 3,000 people just on that road. It's a one-way road. We don't have parks. We don't have sidewalks. Commissioner Palacios built a park. I was here in the town meeting for San Carlos. San Carlos only has 3,000 inhabitants. We on Monmac, if you count the colored subdivisions, we're almost 9,000 people, plus the people we have on the left side, on the east side of McCall. Over there, just in one section in Encinos Escondido, we have in just one corner over 700 families, which is a lot. And we don't have the infrastructure, and then yet I see people asking for more money on a ratio of 5 kids per employee. Come on! Are we wasting our money or what? Think about the taxpayers. That's the reason why you're here. See, and you say, well, I want to increase the taxpayer, but this only you 59 cents. You collect 6 tax entities, 3 for schools, including South Texas, the city schools, and then the STC, which is going to ask $150 million next November, and they are building and building and building. And you read on the news, the enrollment on schools is down because people cannot pay for studying. This is how much expensive they are. So I don't know if you noticed that people are get hit 3 ways on the way we pay taxes. One way with your tax rates, second with your land price, third with the structure price. And every year you have a very well-greased tax assessment office because every year they will get you with the land, with the structure, with the tax rates. Are we piñatas or what? Stop hitting us. We need money to pay our bills. We need money to progress, to have a future, to educate our kids. We need infrastructure to avoid going to use the medics that you're going to instruct, because the only thing we need to do is walk and eat better, so we need some education in nutrition. I am really disappointed the way it works. The day I listened to Sergio.
You have 1 more minute.
1 more minute, okay. Thank you. Let me see what else. I guess that's it. The insurance. I paid as a single person, while I didn't get the Medicare, $450 premium, just myself. $469 for insurance for the whole county. This should be as a bulk price. $469 is too much money we are paying for your insurance for the Hidalgo County employees. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Dr. Adams.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. I'll make it quick. After listening to the presentations on the commuter rail, I will tell you as a retired Army Corps, Transportation Corps officer, we need a commuter rail in this area like a pig needs a wristwatch at this point in time. However, we do have some serious problems with roads, the condition of the secondary roads, specifically the Stretcher Road, Old La Blanca Road between 10 Mile Road and Sioux Road is absolutely full. They're not really potholes, they're wells. And the traffic still flies up and down that road and Sioux Road at between 65 to 75 miles per hour. I think that we could possibly look at some better road maintenance, and that specifically is Precinct 1. And the speed limit signs and the deaf child signs keep being knocked down by some, I would say, thugs. But that is just simply destruction. And the final thing is, is a Colonia directly across the street from me, and I'm at the southwest corner of Sioux Road and Old La Blanca. And you very kindly stopped opening that all the way through to Old La Blanca. I recommend that you continue to block that. There's someone now agitating to have it opened out onto Old La Blanca. With the flight of those cars and vans and trucks that race up and down Old La Blanca Road at excessive speeds, where the speed limit is supposed to be 30 miles per hour. But anyway, with the speed and with the many wrecks that occur at the corner of Old La Blanca and Sioux Road, it would be ill-advised to open that road from the Colonia all the way through. And so I certainly thank you for your attention. Good morning.
Thank you, ma'am. Next presenter is Oscar Montoya.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. I wanted to give you an update on the storm situation and some of the things that are going on right now. Basically, we got what we've been praying for, water, and not all of it at the same time. But for the month of September, we've gotten anywhere from 4 inches of rain to 7 inches of rain in different parts of the county. And yesterday, we probably got about 2 of those inches in a widespread area. We have had, yes, sir.
What was the total?
Between 4 and 7 inches of rain in the different areas of the county total, and for this system, and about 2 inches of rain average for the county yesterday. Some areas got pockets of 4 inches, so and it was pretty evident. Each precinct responded to some situations. I wanted to give you all an update. Last week on Friday, we had a meeting, or on Thursday rather, we had a meeting of the precincts and all the departments from the county as a pre-storm meeting. It went well. The precincts, we decided on not opening an EOC. I talked to the judge about that. It wasn't, we didn't want to use up all the man hours on that, and we ran it from a mini EOC out of our vehicles and out of our phones. And then we met with the precincts afterwards. Precincts came up with a pretty good comprehensive plan of what areas they needed to look at what time they felt with the amounts of water that they would need to attack them. And then they came up with plans as to how they were going to do it, and it worked out pretty well. Precinct 1 responded to 2 locations yesterday during the rain, and they responded to one this morning on Old La Blanca Road. All 3 of them are being monitored. One of them was water over the road. They were able to take care of that. Precinct 2 had a couple of issues, one on Sioux Road and one on Eldora Road. Between Alamo and Raul Longoria, both of those were pumped out rather quickly. The water is flowing now in all of those locations. I'm not real sure about the South La Blanca Road, but I'm sure that'll be taken care of today also. Precinct 3 responded to assist. They had a pretty big problem over there in one of the colonias. No houses were threatened, but the roads were about 1.5 to 2 feet of water inside of a subdivision on Showers and Express. And Precinct 3 went out there, did some pumping of water out, and today they came up with a plan to use pumps to put it into a neighboring area, so that's going to work out pretty well. And then Precinct 4 also responded to 4 locations, 2 on Kenyon Road, and they also, one of the areas of concern, major concern with Precinct 4 was San Carlos. And actually, quite frankly, it went really well. The situation over there took care of itself, and the water moved pretty quickly considering they got about 2-3 inches of rain. So unless you all have any questions for me, that's pretty much it. They're looking at more rain Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. The comprehensive plan with the precincts, they've all advised that they're going to be continuing to monitor for the rest of the week, and I'll continue to send out emails and text messages on amounts of rain.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Item 6B, appointment of Carlos Alvarez.
Yes, Judge, good morning. Karina again from the Public Affairs Office. We actually have a vacancy in our office. Our clerk went on to work for another department, and since we are in a hiring freeze, we figured this would be the best way to be able to take care of the responsibilities in our office, the clerical one. Carlos is a volunteer intern. We would like to appoint him as a volunteer intern with our division. He is not here today. He was in class, but he is a student at STC, majoring in political science. So I request approval of this action.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Item C, 6E.
Item 6C, Michael Leah for Bob Vieira Economic Development. For the record, we have Juan Guerra, CFO for the City of FAR here as well. 6C, discussion, consideration, and approval of First Amendment to interlocal agreement regarding reinvestment zone number 1 with the City of FAR, Texas. Just really brief, this amendment addresses the issue of overlaps with the RMA Transportation Zone. The RMA zone has conceded that they will not pick up contributions in any overlaps, so that enables the county to contribute to the city at the same level. That's what this amendment addresses, and we're asking for your approval.
There's a motion, a second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you. Item 6D, for the record, we have Luciano Osuna, City Manager for the City of Alamo. Reads as follows: discussion, consideration, and approval of First Amendment to interlocal agreement regarding reinvestment zone number 1, City of Alamo, Texas. And this matter addresses the exact same issue in the question of overlaps and allows us to continue to contribute to City of Alamo at the same level. And we're asking for your approval.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. One other item out of order, item 20C. Joanne Perez. Yes, good morning.
I'll be very quick. I'm sorry. I'll be very quick. My name is Joanne Perez Peña. I would like to thank you for having me this morning. I am the founder of Love You Chachas. What is Love You Chachas? It is a breast cancer awareness run walk. We honor men and women we've lost and the survivors that give us hope. We come together as a community to support a cause that has touched most of our lives. I started this event 5 years ago when I lost my mother. And sister to breast cancer.
Joanne, I know it's difficult with them. You're here requesting permission to use our town square
Yes, sir.
on October the 12th, 2013, from 5 a.m. until 12 noon?
Yes, sir.
Valde, we got everything in order there?
Commissioner, we will get with her to make sure that everything is in order.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Good luck, and I hope you have a successful event.
Thank you. Last year it was 1,200, so I don't know what to expect this year. Might be even bigger.
Good.
I have some shirts for y'all.
Okay.
Thank you.
So they're gonna have to be big.
Small. Speak for yourself, Joe.
Thank you. Yeah, come take a picture with us. Déjame la grande, amigo.
Yo creo una small.
And I guess maybe hold the shirt. Are you ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3. One more. There we go. Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck, Joy. Here you go. I want you to get this. Good, Joey. All right, next item, item 7, our constables.
Morning.
Morning, sir.
Item number 7 has to do with our Stop Truancy program with Mission Charlotte and La Jolla School Districts. Our interlocals were approved here, and then the school boards of those entities also approved them. And so we're bringing it back for item number 1, approval of the certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor's office.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Approval of interdepartmental transfer from countywide contingency to transfer out to fund a portion of the cash match at the 50% cash match at county.
Second.
The 1, 2, 3, and 4?
3 and 4.
That's fine. Approval of appropriation of funds and appropriation of the following personnel actions.
All right, those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And then we have 5, approval of the following personnel actions as per section 3.49 of Civil Service Commission rules. What we did here was, we actually did a reassignment. One deputy was at a lesser salary, another one was at a higher salary, so we just switched those, but we had to consider the difference in the salary.
These
So-
are all grant funds, correct?
Well, it's interlocal. It's 50% from the school districts and 50% that's been budgeted from the county.
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
Yeah, they just,
All funds for these positions have already been budgeted.
yeah, move for approval.
Second.
All the way to 6?
And number 6, approval of the salary schedule.
And
All the way to
those,
6, yeah.
those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, and have a good day.
Item 8, our county courts at law. Somebody?
I'm getting to that item right now, Judge.
It's item 8, county courts at law, Esther.
Oh, yes, this is, it was for interpreter services. Yes, so requesting approval to process an invoice as a claim, and this was for Spanish interpreting services, and this was at a defendant trial. They're asking this with authority of county treasurer to issue a check after all the auditing procedures are completed by our county auditor's office.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge, Commissioners, I apologize, but just for the record, it was Business Language, Inc., and in the dollar amount was $1,640.
Item 9, human resources.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Under the Sheriff's Department, approval of the following personnel actions effective next full pay period, 9/23/2013. It's to delete clothing allowance for slots 47, 118, 154, and 11 at $500, and to add the clothing allowance to slots 159, 393, 236, and 327 at $500. And approval of the revised salary schedule.
Move for approval of 9A, 1 and 2.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye. I need another item, Commissioner.
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Yes, second.
Okay, the motion carries.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 10, Sheriff's Office.
Good day, Judge, Commissioners. Richard Ozuna, Sheriff's Office, Hidalgo County, on behalf of our Sheriff Guadalupe Lupe Trevino. Under 10A, so approve to process the following AT&T invoices claims with the authority for the county treasurer to issue a check after auditing procedures completed by the county auditor on the bottom account 330373003-3 in a total of $246.02.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under item B, would you like to take them all or one at a time? One at a time. 1, authorization to accept the grant adjustment notice in reference to Operation Stone Garden FY 2012 second phase as authorized, and authorized for county judge as authorizing official to sign and initial the required documents.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 2 is authorization to pay overtime reimbursement under the grant terms and conditions.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 3 is approval of certification of revenues as certified by our county auditor for the FY 2012 Operation Stone Garden second phase.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 4 is the approval to appropriate the budget for the Sheriff's Office portion of the 2012 Operation Stone Garden Grant second phase in the amount of $141,640 with 82 cents.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Number 5 is approval to appropriate the budget for the 12 cities portion of the FY 2012 Operation Stone Garden Grant second phase in the total amount of $156,680.79 to cover the below-listed cities, Alamo, Donna, Edinburgh, Hidalgo, La Joya, Mercedes, Mission, Palmview, Penitas, FAR, San Juan, and Westerville.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Judge and Commissioners, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Item 11, our Health Department.
Judge, Commissioners, there's no discussion today.
All right, let's move on to item 12, Urban County.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners.
Good morning.
Our first item on the agenda is on behalf of the City of San Juan requesting consideration and action to award and enter into a construction contract with SDM Construction and Development LLC for a water and sewer improvement project in the amount of $260,702.50.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is the requesting approval of a best and final negotiated contract with Quintanilla Headley and Associates in the amount of $29,800 funded through the Texas Department of Agriculture for the 2013 Colonia Economically Distressed Areas Program.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. At this
Items-
time, we're going to convene a public hearing to consider public comments for Hidalgo County's Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
Thank you, Judge. Annually, we are supposed to submit a report to HUD for a report advising of how much we spent during the fiscal year, as well as what projects we funded. Overall, we spent $7,450,188.03, all related to public facilities, neighborhood facilities, parks and recreational facilities, flood drain, water, sewer, street improvements, fire station equipment, and non-residential historic preservation activities, a total amount of $73,589.13. We also expensed funding for owner-occupied housing rehabilitation. 26 single-family units were constructed. 19 of those 26 were for elderly individuals and families. The Home Buyer Assistance Program provided assistance to 9 families wishing to purchase a home in Hidalgo County. And the SHODOs that we deal with, Proyecto Azteca and ASTI, constructed 39 homes, thereby 39 families becoming taxpayers in Hidalgo County.
Is there anyone here that desires to make any comments on this issue? If not, then we'll close our public hearing. Okay?
No action is required on this, Judge, since it is a report that we can't change the numbers on and just needs to be submitted to HUD by September 30th.
All right.
Item D is requesting the County Commissioner's approval of a resolution designating the authorized signatories for contractual documents and documents for requesting funds pertaining to the Texas Department of CDBG, Texas Department of Agriculture, contract number 713005. There was a concern on behalf of the auditors regarding the review of the documents, and Mr. Steve Crane has reviewed them.
I review those documents.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item 2 is a consideration and approval to authorize the county judge to sign any and all contractual documents associated with TDA Contract 713005, including the amendments, request change orders, financial documents, etc.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The Urban County Program is requesting Commissioners Court approval of a 2013-2014 Section 504 grievance procedures requirements and executive force policy requirements for all housing and urban development, Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs, Texas General Land Office, and the Texas Department of Agriculture.
Was this reviewed by legal counsel?
Yes, sir, it was.
Move for approval.
Second.
That's 1 and 2.
They were?
Yes.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, he's
Aye, motion carries.
I'm sorry, Mr. Flasu, said
he's reviewing them now? I was asking if it had been reviewed by legal
we
counsel.
submitted them to him on Friday
Okay.
for his review.
All right.
Thank you.
So subject to, or?
No, he's already reviewed them.
I've already reviewed it.
All right.
All right, item F.
Final item is requesting approval of a 6-month extension to the fiscal year 2010 Community Housing Development Organization shoulder agreements between the county, Urban County Program, and the Affordable Homes of South Texas, ASTI.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Item 14, our WIC program.
Did F also?
Yeah.
Good morning, Judge Commissioners. I'm
Morning,
request-
Norma.
I'm requesting approval to process the following Verizon invoices as claims with the authority for county treasurer to issue checks after auditing procedures are completed by the county auditor for Verizon Wireless for March all the way through August 23rd for a total of $1,393.31.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
2 is requesting approval to process the following monitor invoice as claims with authority for the county treasurer to issue a check after procedures are completed by the county auditor. The requisition was not approved on time for the purchase order to be processed, and the advertisement was run, and it's for the amount of $400.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
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 Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Item 15, Precinct 2.
Morning, Judge, Commissioners. Raul Trigueros, representing Commissioner Palacios, Precinct 2. Item 15A is requesting approval to submit a request to the United States International Boundary and Water Commission on behalf of the Hidalgo County by Ramiro Gutierrez Engineering Corporation to obtain an appropriate license to construct a new roadway in Precinct 2, Tower Road, across the IBWC floodway to connect Tower Road from Rancho Blanco to Juan Bailly Road.
Move for approval of 15A, 1 and 2.
1 and 2, okay. Item B.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is requesting authorization for surveys, meets and bounds, title reports, title policies, appraisals, review appraisals, and acquisition of additional right-of-way for the Border Road project in Precinct 2.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
C is requesting acceptance and approval of work authorization number 5, estimated cost at $6,341.50, as submitted by Millennium Engineering for construction materials engineering services for the Rancho Blanco Road project, which is 1/4 mile east of Alamo Road to Tower Road.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And D is requesting acceptance and approval of work authorization number 6 with an estimated cost of $7,790.25 as submitted by Millennium Engineering for construction materials engineering services for the Rancho Blanco Road, Tower Road to Santa Clara Street project.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you, Judge Commissioner.
Item 16, Precinct 3.
Good morning, Judge, Commissioners. Item 16, number 1 is to rescind action taken on 9/11/13, number 4570, regarding interlocal agreement between the City of Penitas and the County of Hidalgo for the improvements to Mile 3 corridor from FM 492 to FM 2221, including ICA project document.
Move for approval of 16A1.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
2, requesting authorization for Hidalgo County to execute the interlocal agreement between the City of Penitas and Hidalgo County for the improvements to Mile 3 corridor from FM 492 to FM 2221.
Move for approval.
Judge, we still have the same comment, concern as previously on the September 11th agenda item, and that is that the estimated cost and the funded information was not provided.
Are you familiar with what the auditor is saying, Mingo?
Yes.
I believe the cost is $900,000, the county's portion of it. And again, we should be bringing back an appropriation regarding, for this project with the sale of assets, the drainage buyback funds. So if you could have it approved, subject to funding.
Move for approval 16A2, subject to funding.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 3, acceptance and approval of interlocal agreement project pursuant to the approval of interlocal agreement as stated above.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you, Mr. Varela. Item 17, Precinct 4.
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Item 17A is approval of certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor for Precinct 4 wastewater Phase 2 reimbursements. This is the effluent line project.
Move for approval of 17A1.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item number 2 is the approval of the 2013 appropriation of funds for Precinct 4 in the amount of $88,267.86.
Move for approval. Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye,
Thank you.
motion carries. Item 18,
Morning, Judge Commissioners. Item 18A, Sergio Cruz, Department of Budget Management. Item 18A, 1 and 2 is approval to accept the fiscal year 2013 Edward Burns Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Award in the amount of $56,980 with approval of the certification of revenues as certified by the county auditor.
Move for approval.
Second.
those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
18B1 is approval of appropriation of funds from the Justice Court Building Security Fund in the total amount of $60,099.66.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Bulletproof windows?
Yes, sir, these are for the JP's offices, for the entry area. Item 18B2 is approval of appropriation of funds from the unreserved fund balance from the TxDOT Fund, Fund 1315, to Program 081, the Nolana Loop Project, and the amount of $260,000.
Move for approval.
Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Purchasing?
Yes, good morning again. Martha Salazar for the Purchasing Department. Let's go to 19A2, as A1 has already been acted upon. This is a presentation for discussion and approval by Commissioners Court for consideration of either one of the applicable actions you can take in connection with tire disposal services with the current vendor, Texas Land Reclamation, through extended contract number 248.
To extend, can we go out for bid again, or?
We have, I just wanted to give the court some recommendations. Precinct 1 has asked that we solicit again and merely take action on 2B. Precinct 2 did not respond either way. Precinct 3 and 4 were recommending renewal, and Martin Ramirez with the Environmental Compliance Office recommends the soliciting of bids again because he would like to revamp our requirements that he feels are necessary to include in this contract for environment compliance issues that he thinks are pertinent. So it's up to the court what they wish to do.
I'd like to rebid it to make sure, if we can, yeah.
Well, you can do either one. You can take the option to renew or extend, or you can take the option B, which would be just to extend the 60-day grace period so that we can now proceed with the new solicitation process. I just need direction.
Any recommendations, or have you visited with the commissioners, or?
That's what I just reiterated. Precinct 1 is in favor of soliciting. Precinct 2 did not comment. Precincts 3 and 4 are recommending renewal, and Mr. Martin Ramirez with the Environmental Compliance recommends soliciting again. So we've got 2 to go.
Can we extend for, what, 30 days?
60.
60.
Item B gives you a
But then
60
rebid it.
while we rebid.
Rebid, okay.
So the court wishes to entertain 2B and no action on
Move for
2A.
approval. Second.
Those in favor of 2B indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Going on to item 3, this is acceptance and approval of an amendment to contract number 002 with Dr. Norma Jean Farley, MD, for pathologists to provide turnkey autopsy and related services, to incorporate under Section 14 of the agreement, more specifically under 14.2, renewal option. County and contractor agree the renewal option of the contract to continue services for a month-to-month provision, not to exceed 6 months or 180 days. This is being recommended through the Assistant District Attorney's Office.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, motion carries.
The next item is through your executive office, and that is, sorry, this is requesting authority to I'm behind one page. This is requesting approval and authorization to submit a formal letter of confirmation to the City of Edinburgh in reference to the proposed removal of sidewalks on 10th Street, Cano Street, from the driveway to 10th Street McIntyre, from pedestrian gate to 10th Street landscaping on the sidewalks were including but not limited designation of fire lanes to streets that sidewalks were removed, and authorization for Mr. Valdeguerra, Executive Officer, to sign proposed letter of confirmation.
Where specifically is this one?
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
This is going to, okay, remove all the sidewalks
Where
on
is it?
3 sides.
But the location, what?
Oh, it's like facing the old First National Bank, facing 107, and facing the old Golden Jersey building, those, and then that would be turned into landscaping. There would be no sidewalks there anymore. There'd be no parking.
It becomes a safety issue with respect to fire safety. There has to be sufficient...
There's no access
Right.
under a,
Move
for
for
fire
approval.
access.
Need a second?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Precinct 3, item C, 19C, pursuant to contract with LNG Engineering, Article 14. Under contract number 246, a request of approval by engineer to permit the subcontracting of ROW Surveying Services LLC in connection with Tom Gill Liberty Roads.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item C2, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code 262-024A4, a professional service.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B is presentation of the scoring grid of the 3 nominated firms. This would be for project of Miles 3 from FM 2221 to FM 492. Those Logistics at 94, LNG at 100, and Dannenbaum at 97. Does the court wish to rank them in the order of their scores?
Move for approval.
Second.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Authority-
One evaluator, would that be the precinct or
It is the precinct. It is the user department,
precinct 3?
precinct 3. Authority for the purchasing department to commence negotiations with the number 1 ranked firm of LNG.
So moved.
Approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye, motion carries.
Item D1 for precinct 4, recommendation by legal counsel as 2 vendors were inadvertently not provided with an addendum to reject all bids received in connection with precinct 4's building repairs, renovations, additions, and/or alterations of Restitution Center at 1124 M Street in Edinburgh, Texas.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item B would be requesting authority to re-advertise same.
Move for approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E1 for the constables requesting acceptance and approval to award the proposal received in the amount of $60,099.66 from Herrera and Hunt, awarded job order contractor, and this is for Constable 1, bulletproof windows for various JP offices. You just did the funding for that under
Move for
budget.
approval.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
The next item is requesting authority to advertise a request for information for the project titled Privatized Waste Collection in Hidalgo County Rural Areas. This is what we discussed at the workshop yesterday, and this would be just the RFI, and this is strictly for information purposes.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
That is all I have. Thank you.
What about 20, Marty?
Item 20, our Valde.
Yeah, thank you, Judge. Item 20A, 1 and 2, there's no action unless there's action to be taken further down the agenda. Item 20B is 20B, 1, 2, and 3, renovation of former administration building, first and second floors. Judge, Commissioners, I will report that we do have a meeting with our contracted vendor, Marty. For the old administration building, we have a meeting with Wilson today at...
With our contact with them to advise them that tomorrow, on Wednesday, we would also be having a pre-construction meeting. He has advised us that today, at the meeting he requested, he will report whether his subcontractors can maintain the original bids that
were given to him, and thus make a commitment to attend tomorrow's pre-construction.
Right.
At this point, he will advise us whether he's going to continue to honor his bid.
Keep us informed and see where.
Yes.
Oh, yes, yes,
Most
sir.
definitely.
We will.
And on the courthouse portable building project, Judge Commissioners, the downspouts and the issues that we had with the water on the walkway pathway, they have been addressed, and as well as addressing the seating, bench seating, and as well as the large fans to provide some type of breeze throughout that corridor. There are no emergency situations occurring since the last agenda. Item C has already been acted on. Item D, Judge Commissioners, I'm asking approval to accept the settlement agreement from Gallagher Bassett Services in the amount of $4,721.48 to settle a total loss auto accident with one of our county vehicles.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
I'm also asking approval to authorize our county judge, Mr. Ramon Garcia, to sign forms for title purposes to settle the total loss auto accident claim with Gallagher Bassett
Move for
Services.
approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Third action is accept settlement agreement. I'm asking approval to accept the settlement agreement from Gallagher Bassett Services in the amount of $898.95, and that'll settle an auto accident with one of our county trailers.
Move for approval.
Check.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And the last action with respect to that item, I'm asking approval to authorize our county judge, Mr. Ramon Garcia, to sign the settlement and release form to settle auto accident claim with Gallagher Bassett Services.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item E has already been acted upon. Judge Commissioners, item F, I'm asking approval to select some additional members and alternates for the 2013 Grievance Committee. This is pursuant to Texas Local Government Code Section 152.015. I've got the names in the container, and these are former grand jurors. And so what I'm going to ask right now is to select four additional members. And then
Not alternates, but
not
members.
alternates, 4 additional members, and then I'm going to ask that we select 9 alternates.
Well,
Okay.
Okay?
Let's do it.
I understand there was a problem or misunderstanding as to the composition of the committee.
there should be 9 members present. There were 9 members, but I'm a non-voting member, and that doesn't count.
So we were short.
We were short 1,
Voting member.
and we got to do this over again.
All right, so Judge, go ahead and pick out 4.
Llévate.
Please pick out 9. Okay, as a representative, the appointee is Mr. Archie L. Smith from Edinburgh, Texas.
Orsi?
Archie L. Smith from Edinburgh, Texas, is our first appointee. Our second appointee is Ms. Laura Bonilla from Donna, Texas. Our third appointee is Ms. Marta E. Guerrero from Monte Alto. Our fourth appointee is Ms. Norma Linda Salinas from McAllen. So those are our 4 appointees. And our 9 alternates will be as follows. Our first alternate is Mr. Juan Jose Olivares Mr. Juan Jose Olivares. He is from Mission, Texas. Second alternate, Mr. Jorge E. Vera from Mission. Our third alternate, Mr. Carlos Robledo from Weslaco, Texas. Our fourth is Ms. Veronica Sepulveda from Weslaco, Texas. Our fifth alternate is Mr. Benjamin Arjona from FAR, Texas. Our sixth is Ms. Gloria V. Casas from McAllen. Our seventh is Mr. Jesse Zapata from Edinburgh. Our eighth alternate is Mr. M.D. Carmen, Ms. Carmen Rivera from Mission, Texas. And our last alternate is Mr. Erasmo Alvarado from Donna, Texas.
Need a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Okay, Judge Commissioners, and we do have closed session.
Pursuant to 551-071 and 072, need to proceed to executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. It is 11:14, we'll be in executive session.
Commissioners, under open session 22A, real estate acquisition appropriation for same, there is no action. Item 22B, pending and/or potential litigation. Judge, Commissioners, we did receive yesterday notice. It was too late for placement on the agenda for disclosure or placing it on the agenda. But under pending potential litigation, we were made aware of a hearing that is scheduled for September 19th at 8:30 a.m. in regards to a TRO that was served to one of our JPs on a writ of possession. At this time, Judge, Commissioners, I want to disclose that the hearing and any answer due on behalf of JP Contreras and the County of Hidalgo will be facilitated by Ms. Josie Ramirez's office, either through Victor or Savannah or individuals in that office. But again, I just wanted to disclose that it will be facilitated by Ms. Josie Ramirez's office. Okay? Item C, County of Hidalgo versus
Chenier Leticia.
Yes. Judge, Commissioners, this is a settlement compromise, or I say not a compromise, but a settlement agreement that we've come to. The individuals do want to make the County of Hidalgo whole and take care of their liability. The dollar amount is $948.99. They cannot pay the $948.99 all at once. And so, as we've done in the past and working with Josie's office, we'd like to enter into an agreement whereby they will pay the County of Hidalgo in installments $79.99 due October 1st, and then $79 for the next 11 months to make the County of Hidalgo whole. The billing will be processed through my office.
All right, need a motion to that effect?
For approval?
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Claim of Joel Alvarez and Juan Manuel Ocañas. Judge, Commissioners, I want to disclose to the court and put on the record that this claim has come before Commissioners Court, but it was the claim of Joel Alvarez was the initial information we got from the claimant attorney. This was assigned to the law firm of Atlas Hall and Rodriguez. I want to disclose that this is the same claim. It should have been claim of Joel Alvarez and Juan Manuel Ocañas. It is the same claim. It's two claimants. Again, it was assigned to Atlas and Hall and Rodriguez, so I want to disclose so that when the billing information comes in, that we clarify that this was assigned to Addison Hall.
I need a motion to that effect.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye. Aye, motion carries.
The charges in the bill will be styled like that?
Right, it'll be styled as claim of Joel Alvarez and Juan Manuel Ocañas. I just wanted to clarify that. Item E is civil action number 713 CV 00496, Adriana Mora as next of friend of Brian Mora Valadez, incapacitated versus Hidalgo County, Texas. Judge, Commissioners, again, this has already been assigned as a claim to Palacios and Associate, the law firm of Palacios and Associate. I just wanted to disclose to the Commissioners Court that the claim has turned into a lawsuit. Again, we are being represented by Palacios and Associates.
Palacios, no relation to Commissioner Palacios.
Yes, correct. And
Which one?
And
Tito Palacios.
And Judge, Commissioners, for the record, Commissioner Joseph Palacios is not here.
Need action, right?
Steve, do you need- it was just...
I don't think so.
It was just a disclosure so that everybody knew it turned into a suit. Item F, notice a claim of Maria B. Cervantes individually and as representative of the estate of Armando Charles Vasquez. Judge, Commissioners, I want to refer back to
It's no longer.
21, I'm sorry.
20A.
20A1, requesting exemption from the competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 2620248, professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
22F.
Yes, for 22F. If I could have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item 20A2, request engagement with the law firm of Atlas, Hall, and Rodriguez for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit a letter of engagement specifically to claim of Maria B. Cervantes individually and as representative of the estate of Armando Charles Vasquez.
Ahorita le dije que mande una carta.
If I could have a motion to that effect?
Need a second? Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item G, under open session, notice of claim, Jose de la Fuente, Judge, Commissioners. Again, I'd like to refer back to item 20A1 and 2. 20A1, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 2620248, a professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
22G.
So moved.
Yes,
Those in favor
22G.
say aye. Aye, motion carries.
And item 20A2, requesting engagement with the law firm of Preston Hendrickson for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit a letter of engagement specifically to notice of claim Jose de la Fuente.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Item H, notice of claim, John and Sonia Perry individually and as legal heirs to the estate of John Alexander Perry. Judge, Commissioners, again, I'd like to refer back to item 20A1 and 2. Item 20A1, requesting exemption from competitive bidding requirements under Texas Local Government Code, Section 2620248, a professional service for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And item 20A2, requesting the engagement with the law firm of Atlas, Hall, and Rodriguez for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit letter of engagement specifically as it pertains to notice of claim, John and Sonia Perry individually and as legal heirs to the estate of John Alexander Perry.
Move for approval.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And item I, EEOC charge 451-2013-02844, Sergio Hinojosa. Judge, Commissioners, once again, referring back to item 20A1, I'm asking exemption from the competitive bidding requirements. That would be Local Governments Code, Section 2620248, professional service. This is for professional legal services representation in connection with litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
And 20A2, request engagement with the law firm of Atlas, Hall, and Rodriguez for the provision of legal services representation in connection with litigation and authority to submit letter of engagement, again, specifically as it pertains to EEOC charge number 451-2013-02844, Sergio Hinojosa.
What's the name of the firm?
Second.
Atlas, Hall, and Rodriguez.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. Mr. Guerra, subject to Steve's research.
Yes, I will get...
Yeah, make sure you send a letter in behalf of the court as executive officer to advise. I guess we have the outside counsel, Mr. Hendrickson, Mr. Palacios, and Allison Hall.
Allison Hall, and in conjunction with...
That they need to work with Josie Lopez's group, our general counsel, I guess we can say.
Right.
And to allow them to be co-counsel in those cases so that they can start understanding what a wrongful termination and a wrongful death case and, that kind of thing.
I'll make sure it goes to Josie Ramirez's office.
All right.
Right, it's, yes, subject to the research that's going to be done. And so, Judge, with that being said, I have no further items.
Need a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Those in favor say aye. Aye. Aye, thank you, gentlemen.